What is up, everybody? All right, we're gonna do a trade video. It's only one trade, but this is for somebody in the trading room, CDN. This is for you. You asked me about it, so I'm gonna show it to you. Unfortunately, I didn't have my tape pinned to the top of the DOM right here on the open, but this is the open. Notice the profile had the volume profile has sort of that bell curve shape we're always looking for, and it's relatively long, so it's pretty elongated. It covers pretty much my entire screen. So notice how when we open, because we open right here where these two dots are, you know, we go up, we test the low nodes, the volume edge, the volume profile edge, pretty much to the T. We pull back in and we start really chopping right in here. And it seemed to have chopped around in here for a good while. So generally when you have an open and it starts to do that, and it stays within the profile on the open, that usually tells me that we're going to be trading here. Even if we veer away from it, there's a high probability we're going to kind of stay here, trade here. So what happens is there's an open test drive to the bottom of the market, or lower, I should say, not the bottom of the market. So we're going to have an open test drive lower. So this is this move that it just keeps falling in. So, and I'm going to show you a trade I take based off of this. So look, right here, we tag 33.1750. Okay, and we're going to go back and we're going to look 33.1750. So that's quite a ways down from where we're at currently. So the market starts falling in, a little bit of an open test drive down. Notice the price. Here's the bottom tail of the big profile that you saw in the other shot. Notice how it just starts going back and forth, and then we have a pretty huge drop off right here. And then the market slowly starts to roll up. So I'm on a 4-second chart here, and what we're looking for is a roll up. So we already had the volume profile was already printed down here, which was created in the overnight session. So down here we hadn't traded at the open. This is 15 minutes after the open. This is where the drop is. We have a nice roll right here, and the thing is when the market just drops in and it has a hard bounce like right here, for instance, it's not going to just hard bounce and then immediately reverse. It can do that, but on a major move like this, it's very hard. I don't see that happening that often. You need to have the market sort of soften up and roll up like this. So we kind of put it in a higher low. And also our bounce, it's kind of wider. We're getting more chop right here. So you know, this is buyers really trying to fight back. Sellers are trying to hold them down right here. We come back down. Sellers give it a nice little push, but buyers start to pick up right here. And that's kind of what you're seeing. So one thing I'm looking for in this particular trade, because I ended up picking up 16 ticks on 6 contracts. This, for me, was a high probability momentum scalp. This is a different type of trade than the last video I made, one good trade. This isn't a particular pattern I'm looking for. It's more so this particular trade has to do with the volume profile structure, and plus we have a lot of velocity and volume flowing in, and it's the first 30 minutes. So my trading is a little different in the open than it is throughout the rest of the day, especially if we have big velocity, high volume moves. So what I'm looking at is this 22 even. The reason I'm looking at 22 even is if we come over here, we can see size was coming on and off, and it was really causing a lot of chop. So this is kind of a high node, an unusually high node. kind of like right here, this 33.19. See how this 33.19 even is a high node? And notice how the market really chopped around it. It was acting as a temporary magnet. And notice how the market started staying on top of 33.19. So this kind of acts as a support resistance, but it also acts magnetic at the same time. And its role slowly evolves and changes as the market trades through it. So, you know, it's kind of pulling the market both ways, acting as a magnet, and then we start chopping on top of it, and that's a good sign it's going to go up. But the thing is, I'm not willing, and the thing is, I take a long on this particular trade. And, you know, usually you wouldn't want to catch a falling knife, and that's exactly what's been happening back here. So, you know, I don't want to risk getting ran over like that. However, this trade I was very confident in, and I knew it was going to work. It's more so of experience, a sixth sense, and just watching the markets every day. I just had a real strong feeling that this was going to work out. The best trades are where you're real confident they're going to work out. You're like, oh, yeah, this is a good one. You take it. It turns out to be a good one. If you haven't developed that feeling yet, it'll come over time. But you'll know. When there's a really good trade, you'll know. And it's just a feeling. It's a connection with the market. It's hard to describe. You know, that's those confident, good trades, that's just an experience thing that you need to build up over time. But anyways, this 22 even, this right here, size was coming on and off. It was obviously causing some drama in the market right here. You can tell with the way it was chopping. It was acting as a point of control. We were trading on both sides of it, and then the market started whipping away from it, and then it slowly started to act like resistance, as you can see right here, and then the market just juiced itself down. Now we're coming back up to it. I'm looking for a long, because we have this nice roll right here. This right here tells me we pretty much could have put the bottom in, and not to mention in the previous screenshot or video, we have this large profile here. And again, the context is we were really chopping in here quite a bit on the open. We didn't just zoom away from it. And again, it's a very long, elongated, tall bell curve. So that in itself, this piece of structure, all the way from 29.25 all the way down to 22 whatever, 50 or wherever it tapers off, all of this is very strong, very magnetic. This is like, think of it like you know, the sun in our universe, or the sun in whatever, or where we, you know, our sun. All the planets rotate around our sun, right? So the sun's magnetic forces are so powerful that, you know, you have planets as far away as Pluto that's still rotating around the sun. And Pluto is so far out there. It took how many years for us to get a spacecraft out there, you know? I believe it takes 7 years to get a spacecraft to Saturn. So that shit's way out there. But it's rotating around the sun because the sun is massive, and it just has a huge gravitational pull to it. That's what you're looking at when you're looking at these large profile structures. You got to think of it like that. So I know that there's a high probability we're going to pull back into this. I don't know when it's going to happen. You know, if we're real far away like we are here, I mean, the odds of it probably not going to happen, but the fact that we're coming back up to it is a good sign. I know the bottom's kind of been put in place right here. Also, just watching the order flow right here, it just makes sense. You know, it just makes sense that this move, this dramatic move down, is pretty much fizzling out. And also just the way my stochastic is kind of rolling up right here. You don't really, I mean, again, I mention this all the time, but I'm very loose on stochastics. They're just kind of, just looking at it, it kind of confirms what's about to happen. But that, honestly, I didn't really take the stochastics in consideration for this trade. For me, I don't even think I was looking at it. I just mention it now because it's kind of there. But it's this piece of profile structure, this 22 even. We need to cross it. I know it caused some dramatic issues right here where it just sort of was causing, you know, the price to chop and stuff. It could bounce right here and then continue back down. So I want to see us cross this. And if we cross it, I'm going to keep my stops real tight on it, because there's nothing to lean on. There's really no big size to lean on, and there's no large profile nodes. You know, there's no large volume nodes to lean on. So there's really nothing to lean on except for way down here, and I'm not willing to risk, you know, from 22 to 19 even. That's just too much to risk for this trade. So I have to keep it tight. But I want to see it cross 22. I want to see it cross with a lot of velocity. And then I'm jumping on. And I know the trade is going to, if we cross 22 even, which, let's kind of go forward. So here's your 22 even. Notice that it's not as large because, again, we're kind of rewinding in time. That chop we show in the other screen is what caused it to get larger. But once we cross it, look how the profile starts to slowly taper back up. So I'm going to hold it. I don't remember when I get out. We'll see. But we'll go ahead and watch the trade happen. So again, it's 16 tick profits with the 2 tick. It goes against me 2 ticks. And we're kind of getting up there pretty nice. The market's relatively thin. Notice how thin it is across all prices. So that's why you're getting more velocity because it doesn't take as long to clear out the bids or asks. So we're really getting up there with nice velocity. Getting some absorption here. Of course, we're going to have a few issues. 148 comes in on the tape. That's nice. That means a buyer is trying to attack it. And also this right here, this cluster of size that's been coming on and off right here. This is a freaking liquidity zone. And just seeing, it's one thing to have size sitting there, but when it's sitting there on several price levels and it just looks like this on the heat map, this doesn't look to me like it's going to be defended. This looks like we're going to blow through it really easily. That's what it looks like. It's just a liquidity zone. This looks like it's going to get blown through. We're coming up to it. Obviously, we have this 334 here. That's kind of causing problems. And it's right above what? 22 even. So we get shoved down. And we got large. It looked like somebody was trying to sweep, but the market is getting shoved down. So that's why I didn't take it right away. Plus, this move is really overextended. Naturally, with how overextended this move is, there's going to be a frickin' pullback, especially when you have some size sitting here. So I need to see buyers dig in again right here. That's what I'm looking for. Buyers need to dig in. But that's what I'm looking for, and it bounced right here, and that's what, you know, that could get the move going down again. So I'm a little indecisive about it. I do want to take it long if we cross it, though. Now, as far as a short goes, I'm not sure about that because it just, for me, it doesn't. I wouldn't want to take a short off of this area. If I'm taking a short, it would be somewhere else. But for me, this is a good area to cross back into for a long, and really liquidating around 25 even to get out of the trade is kind of what I want to do. So you can see I'm covering the 22. I'm looking for a possible entry here. That's what I like. That I like how 100 lot came in, but the market ticked up. So you have 100 on the tape come in, but the market ticks up. So buyers are clearly, I mean, being aggressive on smaller orders. A little bit of a pullback in on 22. Of course, I get in on 22 even because it's the high node, so it's going to be magnetic. So it's there's a higher probability that it's going to, trade through this price several times. So if things start to get ugly, I can get out, and this is more of a safer price to get out of compared to somewhere else. So you got 110 that comes in, doesn't phase the market. And this looks good. Notice how all the size is starting to disappear. So again, my signs are this 22 even. It's a high node. It's right before we start to go back into the large profile. The profile is large. And also you got this liquidity zone that just magically came out of nowhere. So putting all that together looks good. Also, my 1 minute stochastic starting to cross back up. So that's always nice to see as well. Got a 100 that comes in, but the market doesn't really get pushed down. You can see on the tape you got these larger orders like 96 and all that come in, but they're not really pushing the market down. Buyers are making a lot of progress here. That's a good sign. Now I know there's going to be issues here with the 2375 just because it's sort of a lower node. This is sort of a weird profile structure between 24 even and 2350. So naturally it's going to cause some problems. But seeing how we're back up here, I know that there's a high probability we pull back in the 25 and at least bounce off of it or test it. And also, since we put in that low, this is sort of a pattern that I explain in my One Good Trade video and my auction market theory video. We put in the low. We put in the first low. I don't remember if we go back down there or not. I think we do later in the day. But we put in this first low, and now there's sort of a high probability we come back up here. The thing is, that particular pattern, if I zoom out on this, hopefully you've watched the last two videos. I'll put the link in the description for them. But there's just a high probability that we're going to test 25 even, especially since it's the VPOC, especially with the way we're coming back up. And you'll notice these three larger nodes right here. We're kind of getting stuck on them. That's okay. That's to be expected. And like I said, there's going to be some issues getting through 2375, but they're only temporary issues. I got large size on the bid coming in. Where does it come in? 24 even. Why? Because that's where you have this sort of nice, where it progressively moves up. It kind of looks like stairs, and it's very nice and uniform. So I know that they're trying to boost it up. You got a lot of large size coming in. That's beautiful. I'm looking to liquidate. Boom, look at that cluster. Look at that sweep. I didn't expect that. So this was bonus. You could see that I was moving the mouse up because I was getting ready to get out of there, and then all of a sudden you just have massive amounts of buying come in, sweeping the market up. So I'm like, wow, maybe I could hold it for a little bit longer. But then again, right in here, it's sort of becoming an issue. It's starting to absorb. You can notice on the footprint, it's kind of large right here. And I'm just seeing 1,056 come in here at a very rapid pace. That, for me, just is a sign that this is pretty much near the end of the move. And also, when I say this all the time, if you remember back in your technical analysis days, if you're looking at a volume histogram on the bottom of your charts, you notice there would be a volume spike and then a move would be over. So in theory, where we tested on the bottom all the way up to here is sort of an uptrend. So we can agree that what we just went through is an uptrend, and now you have a volume spike, which was this cluster orders of buys right here. And this is one trader. This is one very large trader, by the way. That's your volume spike, and usually that means we're at the end of an uptrend or a downtrend. Or it could mean that we're getting ready to go the opposite way. So ideally, I'd like to get a little more out of this thing, but with just the way it's sinking in, and I don't like that. So you can see I'm trying to queue out right there. Kind of waiting to see what happens to see if this VPOC starts to hold it. I was a little late on that one. VPOC's sort of holding, but I take it off. I take it off at 24.50 right there. Of course, I could have gotten quite a few more ticks out of it. So I didn't quite pick up 16 ticks. Now that I look at it, I actually picked up less than that, and I traded a 6. So I did take 6 off somewhere else, or 3 off somewhere else in here. Where did I take the other 3 off at? That's what I would like to know. I might have taken them off right there. Let's see what happens. So the trade went in my favor, 16, but I definitely didn't take 16. So I want to say I take 3 of them off right here. I'm not sure what I do. Right there, I just took 3 off right on the point of control. So I'm holding the other 3 to see what happens. So that's sort of how I scaled out of it. So if you watch 25 even on this move up, boom, there's your volume spike. Watch right here in the 25 even in the red box. So I try to get out there. I want to take only 3 off. Notice here I go. I'm going to click 3 off, queue out relatively quickly. So now I'm going to hold the other 3 to hopefully get a push up if it can do it. So I'm ringing the register. I'm scaling out. Now you have some cluster selling coming in. Let's see what happens here. Nice little push up. That's what I'm looking for, but I'm looking for it to push more. This is going to be a little problem area, this 26, between 26 even and 26.50. It's kind of like how it was right here with these 3 ticks. Getting up there again. I'm already out, though, at this point. See what happens. Starts to roll right there. Notice the stochastic. Nice clean move up. That was sort of to be expected. Somebody's trying to prop the market up. I believe this is buyers liquidating. So this is going to get taken out. Yeah, it gets taken out on size too. But it doesn't just drop in. And notice, actually, that might have been a spoof. It looks like somebody flipped the market right here. Then again, the large bid was taken out by quite a bit of size. So this could be 2 different traders. Let's see what happens here. Roll back in. Yeah, and this is just the VPOC doing its magnetic thing. You see how the market has all this velocity, so it's going to get through it, but then the magnetic forces come on and it pulls it back down, and then it keeps flying past it, and then eventually it'll tighten up on it. I think that's what happens. Let's see if I'm right. Ooh, a dramatic push down right there. Then we come back up into it. So yeah, we're really chopping around it. But yeah, that's that trade. That's how I decided to take that trade. So yeah, I'm gonna cut it off right here.